Hello, hello, everybody. It is November 15th. November 15th. We have gotten halfway through November. Thanksgiving coming up in America. If you're not in America, that's okay. Um, big week for us. Banger after banger. It was quite fun. Um, as one of the that's one of the most fun weeks I've had in a good while. Started off with a bang. Started off with that big spike um, on Monday, took all the gains away if you didn't sell out into Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we turned it around and came back. It was a lot of fun. You're able to play both ways. Um, thank you to, just want to say thank you to everybody that is tuning in every week. Everybody in Alpha Traders, we appreciate you. Hopefully you're having a lot of fun and we're doing this together and we're learning a lot, making a lot, and you're taking some of our suggestions and maybe some of our, the way that I trade, um, and getting something out of it. And hopefully, you're getting better yourself. Moving forward, um, as we grow again, we are newer. We're not, it was something that it was actually a question I had in chat. One of the new members asked me, is this new? Is this, if they're kind of asking the whole 9 yards. And I don't think I've said this to many people, but I didn't realize, and I thought I'd address it, is that I actually wanted to start a service pre-COVID, but when COVID hit and all this uncertainty, and didn't feel like it was the right time for me to do this. And it's a lot of work. There's so many hours that are put into it that nobody sees, and there's a lot that goes into everything that we do. And for me at the time, I have two kids, I have a family, so it's had to kind of take care of them, make sure the pandemic, and then we had some businesses on the side, houses, Airbnbs, things like that. So just had some things that I had to make sure that were in place before I started putting a lot of time into helping other people. And that time came around, and we're growing fast, and I appreciate everybody that's given us a shot, and people that have known me in the crypto space. I love crypto. It's awesome, but my heart is in, options, and I love it. It wakes me up in the morning. It's the first thing I think about. I know I should probably think about something else, but first thing I think about when I wake up, and really pushes me every day, and it really tests you every day, and it forces you to be better. And I love the competition aspect of it. So I wanted to make sure I address that to everybody, just so they knew, this, as we come out with content and all that, stuff that I'll be pushing out, and 2 or 3 minute videos, on YouTube and in our Discord and whatnot. Please feel free to always reach out. For some reason you're not making money. I want to know why. I want to know how I can help. I want to know how Merc wants to know. You guys will get to know. His name's Mercury. He's one of the other guys. Amazing chartist. Amazing chartist. I try to have people surround me that are better than me, especially in a lot of other areas. As you know, I'm not somebody who looks at a ton of charts. I look at maybe 10 to 12. And if something pops up or something changes, I'll take a look at it just to confirm what I think. I have my own process that's been super successful. Charts only get you to the story that's already been told. You can't always predict the story that will come out of it. Can you find patterns? Absolutely. Can you find levels? Absolutely. There's definitely a place for charts, and for all the things that come into it. And it's just another tool in your toolbox. As you guys get to know Mercury, he is an amazing swing trader, a guy that can pull out. He's great in stocks that are a month, 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, up to maybe 2 or 3 months out. Amazing trader. He does great in crypto. He does great in stocks. Um, you guys will hear a lot more from him, and then of course you guys will hear from Dr. Joshua. The guy, I said this before. The guy's a wealth of knowledge. He understands the opposite side of me on stock or on options better than anyone that I know. I'm more of an aggressive type. I like seeing a price. I like looking at the price action. I like looking at my own system, and and the way that I do things are more aggressive. And he's kind of more let the market come to me, which is great. And he's selling puts and he's selling calls on things. Um, Freebie, he's mostly selling puts right now. That'll tell you getting synthetically long. Um, and I've incorporated that in my trading, especially in my IRA and things like that. I think that the way he does things is just he's been doing it for over 10 years, and he's really, really, really good at it. And I've learned a ton from him. So for everybody that's listening, if you're not a member, because we are putting this out on YouTube for free, and I'm going to post it to Twitter so everybody can see. Please, if you guys are interested at all, we have a 3-day. We always have a 3-day trial. We encourage you guys to use it, and we think that any money that you pay for this service is going to be returned to you. There's always things that happen for sure, but we think the knowledge that you'll gain and the experiences that you'll gain are going to be through the roof. And I think it's well worth the money. I think it's well worth it. I think you get way more than you pay for personally. And want you to try it out. If you are a member, you guys hopefully can attest to the process and how well the process can work if you navigate it right, and also just learning what works for you. So that being said, let's get to our position wrap for Friday, and then into what we have currently. I didn't put together the whole week. I'll be honest with you. It was so many positions and it was so many bangers that it literally would have taken me probably 20 minutes to go through. So if you're not in Alpha Traders, you won't see the daily update of the amounts that we put out on Twitter. Probably tomorrow morning, I'll put out I have to go through the whole week again. But I just wanted to put for everybody understand what we did on Friday. 9 to 7, people will go, oh man, 9 to 7, that's not, that's not very good. But actually it was phenomenal. And I'll explain why. In the green for Friday, they were either positions we carried from Thursday or earlier in the week to Friday that were weeklies, or they were lottos that we did on Friday. I love Friday lottos. As you guys get to know me more, Friday lottos are my thing. I am, for some reason, I can't explain it. I have a sweet spot for lottos. My lotto Friday record is, I think I back tested it. I think I'm somewhere near 68%, 69%, something like that. It's really, I didn't know it. I actually had one of my friends was doing some statistics and stuff, and I asked him to do some stuff for me. And that was one of the things he came back with after analyzing the data was I had I think it was 68.5% actually hit rate on Lotto Fridays. I was like, wow, I didn't know that. So it's kind of, with the data, it's kind of my sweet spot. And I was fortunate enough this Friday to be able to communicate that to everybody in the chat. So most of the green positions you see up there, I believe we're sold out of, except for the TSM 89 calls for next week, which has been absolutely fire. Absolutely fire. Semis are huge. Chips are huge right now. It's great. It's a very healthy market when semis and chips lead the way. A very healthy market. As much as the news wants to tell you one thing, CNBC and all these other media outlets, and then all the bears on FinTwit, and all the people are saying it's the Fed, it's whatever. We need to trade what's in front of us, and what's in front of us right now are semiconductors, and chips are on fire. And now we have the rotational with the vaccine coming in. You're going to have these two groups really pulling each other up, and that will bring tech along. Tech won't. There's enough money on the sidelines still where tech is going to be, you're going to be able to get a value. Some people are running away from tech currently because they think it's overpriced and they don't think it can go up much more, when in fact it really can. And it's a matter of, can you see it? Do you want to see it? There's a lot of bias that gets out there. you got to wash through all that stuff. You got to get just to what you do. Um, so Zoom was interesting. We were heavy in Zoom going into Friday. I thought Zoom was at a great price intersection. It was right at 420. Well, actually, it closed at 434. I think it was something like that. It closed at the highs of the day. Everything looked good for it. Thought we were going to have a nice pump on Friday, and the absolute opposite happened. There was a huge rotation because of behind the scenes. Moderna was their CEO was pumping how great the vaccine was, yada yada yada. It started leaking out. I think it was on Wednesday. They didn't know if it was real Thursday, and then I think the results leaked out, and you saw that on Friday. I mean, as soon as I saw that, I think it was maybe 15 minutes in, we reversed course, and I alerted everybody in chat, and I said, this is going the other way. There's huge rotation going on. Somebody knows something. There's something going on with the vaccine again. We have to understand what the market is telling us. It doesn't move into the beaten down the COVID beaten down stocks without something happening. And literally they were buying. What gave it away for me was banks never went down. That's a big sign right there. Money kept flowing into recreationals and kept flowing into consumer discretionary. And when I saw all three of those things happening, which it happens sometimes, but it wasn't, the volume on that wasn't just average. It was extremely above average. When I saw Boeing start to go and United and all the airlines are popping, and now I see XLF on the banks, or XLF is popping, and then I look at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and all these other ones, and I'm going, okay, one more thing. I just need to see one more tip. Give me one more tip. And there goes Kohl's, and there goes Macy's. The UOA is bouncing off the walls for, Dillard's and, all these other, and right then I knew we had to turn course. We had to understand that Zoom is no longer a play for on the long side, but on the short side. And we have to really quick adjust, find out what is moving fast, what's been hit the hardest, and what on Monday shot up to a huge amount. Even though it came crumbling down, the potential was that the price action was determined, and the high of that price action locally was determined. So we kind of, I was moving 10 parts all at once, but I alerted everybody that we're going to start getting out of these Zoom longs, and we're going to kind of play it and see where it's at. So, so you'll see that actually the Zoom 430 call at 320, that was the one we went into. Yeah, I hate losing $320 per contract. Hate it. If you had 10, you lost $3,200. You did. And you know what? You have to expect zero. That's in the rules. That's kind of my thing, is when you buy something, you have to expect it to go to zero, so you aren't, hurt emotionally if it does go to zero, because those things happen. We were also in Goldman Sachs puts. Tech had shown a lot of strength on Tuesday or Thursday. And it wasn't so much I was thinking we were going to get a whole nother day of tech. It was that those techs were finishing at the highs of the day, and the banks were finishing at the lows of the day. So usually when that happens, you have some sort of follow through, at least at the open. You're able to adjust and pivot and move from there. There was no adjusting or pivoting. It literally just happened because of the news that was behind the scenes, if you will. And again, that was my hypothesis, and what the market was telling me was confirmed once Trump and the people, his professionals that he had up there, confirmed that Pfizer, Moderna, and then there were 4 others going in this phase 3 trial. Like, the whole thing is moving. So I was really happy we were able to get out or pivot to something else. And that brings up 2 points that I want to get to, and I'll stop rambling. But excuse me. The first point is, this is why you don't put your whole account in all the time, because you're not able to pivot. So, for example, say you have a $5,000 account, right? If you had all 5,000 of your dollars into all the stuff that went red here, you'd have been up shit creek. You'd had to sell at a loss. You'd probably be at 2,500, 3,000. But then you could have pivoted and used some of your day trades and went from there if they were there. Or if you're all cash, which is great, you may not have been able to get it because you couldn't settle it. So Um, it's tough in that sense if you put your whole account in there. Now, if you had put $2,500 in, say, and again, I'm just using this $5,000 account. Say you bought one Zoom 430, you bought one Goldman Sachs put, and you bought one MA 360 earlier in the week on Monday. I'm just making things up. You're at least able to pivot. And when we said, hey, these longs are probably not going to be very good anymore, da 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 da, you're able to go, okay, what are we getting into? What are we doing that's, that I'm not in, that I can pivot to, or I'll just wait at least until there's an opportunity for me to buy. The second thing is that's why you have to be at your computer. This isn't a passive thing. When you're doing options, you have to be present. You have to be able to pivot, especially in the first hour. The first hour and the last hour are the most pivotal parts of the day. And you got to be able to see what's going on and where to pivot and where to go. So onto the positions. We carried Square SE. Excuse me. We carried SE in from the week before. It was a play that SE was really, really strong. It didn't pump that much on Monday. It was up maybe 30, 40%. Once the market got hit, it went down with it to a spot where it wasn't going to be able to recover, even though the next few days it went up, I think, 10 to 12%, but it just wasn't enough for where we were. It was a little bit of a stretch, but again, SE had looked really, really good for this week, and unfortunately didn't pan out because of the news on the vaccine and the rotation out. Square, same thing, looked really great. I remember mentioning in chat, it's a lotto. Don't take it if you feel any type of way. I took it. I thought Square could maybe get $1 or $2. I thought it was, with tech being a little better, payment processing being a little better on Thursday, that you'd be able to take a lotto and see how it went. The Boeing 190s, as I said in chat, those were more or less, they were kind of like, hey, if Boeing goes, we're going to make bank. If not, it's only $62. So manage your risk. Goldman Sachs, the put we bought on Thursday. It was a hedge, didn't buy a lot. We just hedged it in case it fell fell on its face, and everything went back to tech, and the COVID cases were the ones pushing you. It was just a hedge. And then Twilio 300s, it was just a YOLO. It was 100%. There was a lot of momentum. I made the mistake of not selling both of them on Thursday morning. The Twilio 292.50s were, I want to say they're 120%. And then the 300s were up like 60%. Should have sold them there. That was my mistake for the week. I didn't sell Twilio when I should have, or Twilio. And then Zoom 430 we saw. So let's talk about the good stuff. We were in and out. Once we saw Zoom, we pivoted. 400 puts, made a little bank. It pushed up, got into the 405s immediately, and let that thing run. Sold it out. I think it was at 397, 396, somewhere in there. Sold it out. Amazing trade. 300%. Bam. Made up for our losses and some of the other stuff. Came back 390 put after it popped to 400. It went down $4 more, 396. Boom. Got a double. We were out of it. And one thing that I didn't do correctly on that 400 put is we had it at 100%, and I didn't take it the first time. I didn't. I alerted that you should manage your account, that it's up 100%. However, if you want to take it, take it. What I lost out of my my own personal rules. My personal rules are on Lotto Day, if it hits 100, you're going to sell it unless one of two things happen. Momentum is not slowed and there's no lower lows. If you have those two things, if the volume from the momentum's there and there's no lower lows, you don't sell. Especially if it's lower lows and higher highs still, why sell? It makes no sense. Did a great job on Zoom, made a lot of money, and it made up for a lot of those, the hedge loss and the small YOLOs, and it really caught up to that. Netflix 500s, had them at 30%. Took a third of them at 30%, and then rest of them got out at, I think I alerted to sell it at $1, I think it was, because it had failed and it wasn't coming back. So we still made a little money on it, made a little green, didn't lose. That's the most important thing. Live to fight another day in Netflix. The setup was great, but it failed. It failed at the swing fail, and it just was not ready to go. TSM, like I said, absolute home run. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We've been holding it since last week. Absolutely. We still have 50% left. Sold the other 50 here, as you can see, for 100 and I think it was like 140%, somewhere in there. Beautiful setup. Like I said, semis are hot, hot, hot. LRCX, TSM, all of them. TSM has some news coming out in January, and it's really propelling them. Apple 120s. Bought these the day before. Really was I don't like Apple, options anymore. They're really heavily weighted. Hard to get a dollar here, dollar there, and when you do, the reward isn't that great. So we just did it kind of. I just wanted to think we get 30, 40%. We would call it what it is, and go from there. But no harm, no foul. Made $5 per contract. Everybody was happy. This home run right here, Google 1775s, saw it a mile away. Higher highs, higher lows. Was the only leader in Fang M that wasn't losing, wasn't getting lower lows. It was holding strong, and it kept going. And we had an absolute home run on that. That was, I don't know, 400%, 300%. Not sure. I don't know off the top of my head. D-Dog, again, another one of those like Twilio. Should have sold it on Thursday. These 89 calls were a double, 150%. We got 50% on average out of them. Still not bad at all. Current positions are below. MasterCard was an absolute, I guess I should have put it in the green column there. My mistake for not doing so. But MasterCard was an absolute slam out of the park on Friday. I'm sorry I didn't put it in there. The 350 calls went from 48 cents. I alerted them early in the day, and I said, if this thing's for real, MasterCard, you could go MasterCard or Visa, American Express, but I like MasterCard out of most. It's the best out of them. MasterCard's going to be at $350 next week at some point, or we're going to get an IV or a gamma spike, and we're going to be able to really make some money on them. And I was right on that. We got fortunate enough to where, we sold half at $1.20 at the very end of the day. Great trade. It was just another banger that came along. Google bang, Zoom bang, making up for any type of losses that we had. You got to be able to adjust. You just can't sit there and feel sorry for yourself. You got to keep going. The IWMs look phenomenal for this week with futures where they are. Small caps are going to be the place to play. I think that's where a lot of money is. There's so many small caps, so it's a lot easier to play IWM calls a lot. I think we may even look to layer that. We'll see how the action goes. I still think that it's a huge bump at the open for the first 15, 20 minutes into a fade, not unlike it was Monday. I hope it's not that way, but I think that's kind of how the market's going to be super extended from the 8 and 21 day. We're going to have a lot of movement. It's going to be, the market just itself is just going to be on fire. And I think what you're going to see is we're going to have to short a lot of stuff going into Tuesday, and then maybe Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be able to get back to tech and see where we can go from there. But you can see our other current positions. Those Win 95 should print this week, especially tomorrow. If futures really, they're already up. They're already up a bunch. They gapped up above 3,600, and it's sitting at 3607 right now. It's literally just flagging, and it's up 20 points. So you can kind of see the inferred movement here on the gap up. So we'll see what the action is, but I do think it's going to be I think overnight session of futures is going to tell us a lot. And I think it's either going to stay right where it's at, or it might bump up a little bit, come back down, test 3,600, maybe, 3,590, and then bump back up for where we're at so we can get our gap up. We'll see, and then we'll see. All these look good. D-Dog's the only one that I'm kind of sitting here going, you had a huge bump and we didn't take it, and we'll see what happens with that. I expect zero in all these positions, so I'm not surprised at any. TSM, absolute fire. It's going to be a great one. The IWMs are going to be great. The Ford, I didn't update it. My apologies. But Ford, that's a YOLO call. Don't have a lot. It's just if it fills its gap by this in a month, then all is well. And these 3 cents are going to be worth probably about I don't know, probably about 60 cents. So it was worth a couple shots. I mean, we're not risking $3 a contract. I think I bought 200 of them. So nothing crazy. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm willing to, I'm willing to spend $600 to make 10,000. I'm cool with that. Pins looks great. We'll go over the chart here in a minute. Win looks great. We'll go over the chart. MasterCard again. All that looks really, really good. So let's get to the charts here. Hang on one second. Let me pull it over. All right. Let's see these. There we go. Sorry, my mouse wasn't working there for a second. Okay. All right, so sorry about that. My mouse is for some reason acting weird. All right, we'll do it this way. So for some reason I can't get the mouse to work here. So let's start with AMD. We'll do the 10 that I think are that I really like this week. Maybe not so much that we trade them or that it's we have to trade it, but it's something to look at. AMD is one of them. NVIDIA earnings this week, and we'll go over NVIDIA. But you can see here, it's this. Again, I want to just remind everyone, I am not a technical analysis guy. Personally, I use the charts just to give me an idea of where it's at. If there's a trend, if I can see where the overall trend for it is. I like seeing the EMAs. I think weighted EMAs are way better than most things. I like the 8 and 21, and I like the VWAPs. And I think that the 50 and the 200 are super important too. So I just like seeing where it's at. But it also gives you a visual. I want you to know kind of what I'm thinking. So AMD, as you can see at the bottom of this triangle, I like this setup. I want to see how AMD reacts in the first 15, 30 minutes. If it's real, 84 should be, it should be at 84 by an hour into this thing. If it's real and it doesn't want to just keep consolidating, because again, all these charticians and whatnot will tell you, this is this, it's going to bounce, it's going to go up. It doesn't mean that. I mean, it may just go like this. It may just chop because it's on a volume shelf or whatever, for whatever reason the market isn't good. It could just go here and just chop and just go like this. But I do like the setup. I like that it has a more vertical outlook, and the outlook is up above. I don't think 86 is on tap for this week. I do think if the market is solid and money can rotate back into the chips and the semis, which semis are obviously been on fire, but the chips took a little bit of a hit. If money comes back and they want to play this and they want to run it, you have a really good shot at 86, 87. I don't see 88 this week. If it does, great. I just don't see that. I don't think there's going to be too much rotation into the other sectors, but I could see this thing. Let's see where it goes. It's at 81.43 now, or closed Friday there. Let's see if it's maybe 83, at the open, 82.50, 82, somewhere 82, 83. Maybe that's a look to 84, 85, 86. Maybe we can get in there and, um, you know, see what we can get. Fastly. Um, we have positions. We had positions, I should say, in Fastly. I really like Fastly here. This gap is like, maybe other people want to say that Fastly is this and that, and it's because it's sold off. Whenever I see a gap, I see an opportunity, and that's one of my rules personally that I have, that I try to communicate. I try to communicate to everybody, but when I see a gap, I get excited. I'm like, okay, when's that gap getting filled? Can I figure out when these gaps are? And again, that's where charts come in. Gaps are great because they're able to tell you a lot about where things are going. Gaps are a very, very powerful tool, in my opinion, especially in options, to find out where your line is. Like, for example, we know that 95.35 is probably going to be if it does get back here, which I think it will. We know that line right there. If it gets above 95.35, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. That's runner. We're gonna enter down here, but that's that's gonna be a runner. But for now, it's at 77.70. It got up to 80, got rejected. It still has a couple things ahead of it. Still has the anchored VWAP from the highs. It still has the 50-day hanging over it, which is interesting. The 8 days curled under, the 21 days curled under, the 200 is under it. So it's getting there to where it's reclaiming all of the. I like when moving averages are under something. It shows that it's able to go places. Where it's above, you can only go that high. So if it clears that 50-day, 50 days about right here, we'll call it 85. It's going to be, to me, Fastly is an amazing buy there. Now, I do think we can get away with maybe doing some weeklies. We'll see how it plays out. I would like to see Fastly back up to 80, 81. See if it can break this. It's a really good trade. Here, it's a harder trade because it's kind of chop, but I'm aggressive. I may want to go if I see weakness here down to 75. I know I have some confluence with all the other MAs and whatnot, and by that time the 8 day should be up here. 21 days should be coming with it. So, 21 days right here. To me, it's either chop, but it might be worth a small position to get this huge volume shelf above. Know that this is where there's a lot of supply. I mean, you're looking at 3, 6. I think that's a 9. Could be a 6. I can't tell, but I mean, we'll call it 10 million just here. That's a lot. That is a lot to get through, but Fastly can do it. There's a lot of good, pub about it, but this might have just been from the lowest low, little run up, get them back to here. If it retakes 50, it's definitely a good trade moving forward. Google. I love Google here. I think it's going to be slow though. I don't think this is going to be a name that moves fast, like, where you can get 60-point days. Not right now. It could. I don't think so. It's a little extended from the 8 and 21 day right now. 21's down here. I love that all the MAs are under it, but it is a little extended, but I still really like it here. If the market is good, I think 1793 prints. You get through 1777, it had a hard time getting through 1777, 1778, and then into 1785. I think if it gets past and stays above 1770, we'll call it 1778. I think it runs to 1785 or it runs into some trouble and it kind of hangs out. I don't know how many days, or hours, that is. But if it clears that, 1793 is on tap. That could happen this week. Might be something we alert, might be a Friday lotto type of thing. We're going to keep our eye on it. I love Google. I love that it showed relative strength when all of other tech is getting weak. The moneymaker, MasterCard. Some people say that Visa looks better. I don't care. You pick your poison. I pick MasterCard. You can pick Visa, whatever you want to do. For me, though, I could see this invalidation point came back quick. We made a lot of money. Anybody who followed my buys on MasterCard last Friday made a lot of money. We're talking 1,200 and 900%. This was heaven. But that being said, came back to life. This move here, was this up to 357? Came all the way back down to 325. That's a big move. That's a $32 move. So we can relatively expect that you get a $16 bounce off this, right? We'll just call it the rule of 50. So we do that. We'll call it 16-point bounce off of roughly I think it was 327, 16-point bounce, 43. You might have a little more up to 45. I think that the ones that we bought ours here, down here. I think it was, somewhere around there. And we made 150% on that from here, making that move from 320. I want to say it was 328 to 335. But if tomorrow gaps up and we have this at 340, 341 MasterCard, we will take our 200%, 300% and be a very, very happy group of people. I don't think it's playable past Monday because I think they're going to short this market because the fact that the vaccine is still a time away, but also just because the market's going to be super extended, and you know how things are. When it's super extended, they like to bring it back, and when it's super down, they like to bring it back up. Melly. Love Melly. Second best company in stock market. They are not going anywhere. I love this consolidation here. I just wanted to show you guys some lines just because I like drawing lines sometimes because I think they're fun. But this right here, this consolidation the last 3 days tells me that there's a chance that this volume shelf it's building, it may need another day or two. It may need another day of coming down here. Maybe that's what it needs. But I can tell you this. The moment it gets above 1370, heck, we may play it from 1300 to 1375. And then we'll play it from 1377 to 1432. But tech needs to be better. Any type of dip on Melly, if you're buying the stock for an IRA, you should buy and you should just leave in there. It's going to be a $2,500, $3,000 stock in the next 5 years. Huge on Melly. The only issue I have with Melly from an option standpoint is that the books are thin. From a standpoint of there's not a lot of liquidity if you're not on an exact round number. So you have to go into 0, 25, 50, 75, 0 again. You're not going to get the 30s, the 45s. Maybe you can get with NVIDIA or other plays like that. So be on the lookout for Melly. NVIDIA, one of my absolute favorite option plays. It's not that it moves fast because you don't need an option play to move fast to like it, but it's reliable and it has distinct trends and it has distinct moves that only NVIDIA makes, and it makes it consistently, and it makes it easier to trade, but it also makes it easier to predict when it's going to happen. For example, when this run-up happened, we had the boom, the blow off the top was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And then you knew it was going to get short because as soon as this failed and you saw it drop back under what it was at 573, at 589, I knew at 584, once it never reclaimed 585, I knew it was a short immediately. Did I short it? No, because I didn't know how bad. There's a lot of euphoria. I didn't know it was going to get pulled back that much. I'm not a god. I can't predict everything that happens. But I knew it was going to be short, but I didn't know how short because it just run up. It was one of those things where it's better to leave it alone. So you have some indecision here, but you have a good consolidation going into earnings on Wednesday, I believe, after hours. Well, I'm going to watch the price action tomorrow. Might get into something where maybe it's the 550s, maybe it's the 570s, 575s. We'll see. We'll see where we go tomorrow. I really want to see about 2 hours in where we're at if when it comes to getting long again. I do think we're gonna have to get short tomorrow. Pins, 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 pins. One of the best looking charts. Like literally, it just keeps getting bought. They couldn't get it below 652 down here. They couldn't get it below 50. They couldn't get it below. They tried. They tried 54. Held 52. A lot of buyers. Boom, boom, boom. 4 days in a row. Non-stop buying. Pins did not care about what the market was doing, where it was going. And here's the beautiful thing. This is kind of what you get an idea for. Look at that volume. Rising price on decreasing volume is extremely bullish. Extremely bullish. I love that it finished over 62. I think this thing has about, I think it gets back to 65 easily tomorrow. Might have a digestion day on Tuesday and Wednesday where maybe it pulls back to the 8 and 21 day just to get itself back. But if this pushes to 65, we'll probably be out of our calls. We'll wait for a pullback to kind of play to 68. We'll go from there. Love pins. SE, the best, going to the best company in the stock market, in my humble opinion. This stock will be $1,000 in 5 years. I'm going to say it right now, $1,000 in 5 years. The esports, there was a video. I saw a couple of videos about esports in Asia, and people are going crazy. It's like rock stars over there. It's beautiful. So SE is interesting. If it can get over 183.66 Monday in the first hour, and hold that, I think it's a nice buy to 187. You can get a nice. Maybe we'll do a call spread where we do the one, 180, maybe 190s, the 190, 200 call spread. I think that'll be really good way to, conserve, because I don't think it's going to get to 200 this week. I just don't, but it could be a really good play to maybe even sell the 195s. We'll see how that goes. Tesla. I hate to say it, but I think Tesla, my baby for so long, I have made so much money on Tesla. I just think the only way to really own Tesla right now is if you're owning it forever. If you say, I'm not going to sell, you just accumulate DCA at 400. Every time it hits 400, you DCA. If it goes under it, you DCA. If it ever gets to here, I will leave this on this chart for the rest of my life. If it gets to here for some reason, oh my God, I'm going to buy as much as I can. I just might mortgage the house. But yeah, it's until this breaks 450, 452, we'll call it. There's not much to do. And it makes me sad, but it is what it is. And, maybe if you can touch the bottom of this triangle, you can get a run up, or, maybe it touches, this is 400. You can buy it at 400, maybe get to 415, 420, and, go from there. Probably not playing it. Last but not least, Wynn. They were buying Vegas. They were buying Vegas like they were going to see Elvis Presley come back from the dead. And we were right along with them. Quite the gap up. They filled the gap. Maybe not even filled the gap, but they filled 3/4 of it. And you know what? It went right into where, that support zone is for the volume shelf here. And what does it do Friday? Boom. Gives you another. I fully expect Wynn to be at 95 tomorrow. I do not expect it. I expect it to be at 95 within the first 15 minutes. We'll be selling our calls if it gets to that, because that IV will be so high that we will be cashing it in, and we can always revisit it. And you know what? We can let a couple of the hundreds ride or a couple of the 95s ride, let it go, see what happens. YOLO a little bit of it. I could see 100 happening this week, especially if the vaccine stuff is real. 102 could even happen. Heck, if they really want to blow this thing up, by Friday, this thing could be back at 105. How great would that be? Wow, 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 wow. If we are able to get this to 95, we wait for it to either move up a little bit where we sell the rest of what we have, or comes down to retest that gap right here. Maybe this gap right here, this gap down. I don't know. Fuck. Excuse my language. Sorry. I'm so excited that, I don't know where it's going, but I know it's going up. If for some reason, when tomorrow opens at 90 or below, you cut this. That's the only time I'm going to tell you to cut your options. If something is different, They didn't buy the vaccine news. You need to get out of these positions, because that means MasterCard and all of them are bad as well. And we got to sit back and see where the market's going, whether it's going down or their money going back to tech. We're going to see, and then we're going to see. So thanks everybody. Excited for this week. Always am. I'm already amped up, as you guys saw as I was looking at Wynn. I think it's going to be great. If you own any of the Vegas stuff, I think it's going to be really good. We'll see. Things change. We got to be able to pivot. Thank you again for everybody who is subbing with us, and for anyone else that's interested, please visit us at www.alphatraders.com. Put in your email in there, hit submit, go to the next page, pick your plan, create your Trade Labs account. Boom, you're in, and you get your 3 free days. Thanks again to everybody. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in chat.